Warning: the following episode of That Mental Ginger Show contains strong language and adult themes. On today's episode, we're talking with magician Steven Blair. Steven was such a blast to talk to because with him being a magician, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Well, I was just wanting to ask all the questions you probably shouldn't ask a magician. Like, is there such a thing as a magician's guild? Do you have magician conventions? And what's the best wrestling tag team name that you've ever come up with? The only way you'll find out these answers is if you watch the video. So let's cut to the intro.
All right, troops.
Steven, like every good magician or every good illusionist, it took a while to find you, but we got you. How are you getting on, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm surviving. Got a new light from my dining room, which makes me look even more pale. It's brilliant. But it really highlights the fact that like one side of my goatee like has absolutely no facial hair on it. It's like, where did it all go?
That's why I'm clean shaven, because I can never, like, I'm patchy, like just all over.
I
And
did
then it gets
I did have the beard, but when I was like neating it up, I misjudged the razor and I got part of my chin. And I'm like, I was like, well, I kind of just need to go with this now. Well, I wanted to shave my head like off and go proper like Walter White, but my wife was like, no, the last time you done that, you took a mental breakdown and you had to leave the house for 6 weeks, so you're not doing that again. So.
like Britney Spears.
It was my Britney Spears moment, except I don't have a conservatorship on me yet. Well, the one way I like to start these podcasts, Stephen, is by getting the guest to tell us about your origin story, because the one thing we've all got in common is that we all have an origins. So for my faithful followers, please, the grand wizard that is Steven Blair, tell us your origin story.
Right, so we'll start at the beginning. I was born in Ayrshire. And basically, I'm a magician. So I got a magic set when I was 5 years old. Because when you're young, whatever your parents buy you seems to be what you get into. You know, my mum could have bought me a football and I could have been the next Ronaldo, but she bought me a magic set.
In fairness, like, my parents didn't buy me anything to do with acting, yet somehow I wound up wanting to do acting.
There must have been something when you were young, just a movie or a TV show that inspired you.
Nativity play. And the nativity play at 6 years old, me telling all the other wise men that their lines were wrong and mine were right.
I was a sheep in mine, so
that would have been a brilliant magic trick at 6, a talking sheep. There we go. So, that would have been you.
Pretty much. So anyway, I got a magic set and I thought I'd mastered magic, you know, like, because I thought I knew everything. I got the set, I learned all the tricks. So I kind of took a break away where I just, you know, I don't even know what my hobbies were at that point. It was maybe for a couple of years. I've always been into wrestling, so we'll just say some form of wrestling.
Oh, there we go, my friend. We are cooking with gas. We are cooking with gas right here. So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? So I know which wrestling era you would have been watching, and I can try and barge in.
So I'm 27, but 27. I've watched probably every era of wrestling.
So you're younger than me. I'm 34. So you're younger than me. So you would have been more the kind of ruthless aggression era, like when John Cena first came on the scene, like kind of end attitude, start ruthless aggression at that point?
Kind of, yeah. So that's kind of the stuff I grew up on, kind of when it was transitioning into more of the kind of PG from the kind of edgy and cool.
Yeah.
But later on, kind of, I got into the more edgy stuff in my kind of like early teens. So, and then that was about the same time that I found magic again.
So what was your favorite wrestling move then? I've got to ask. What was the one that you practiced with your mates?
A DDT, just because it's something you could probably do in a fight. You know, it's not convoluted.
Yeah. That's really good. I like that. I'm all about that. My mates were always like the Stone Cold Stunner and stuff. Mine was I was a Chris Jericho was my favorite wrestler, so I was always the Walls of Jericho. Well, because if you bet them back far enough, I just thought I could break your spine.
Pop your legs up.
Yep. I almost done that to my brother when we were playing wrestling, like, and he ticked me off so badly that I put him in the Walls of Jericho. And when I released his legs, I forgot we were in front of my mum and dad's coffee table.
So one of my favourite memories was I got into a bit of a scrap at school, and this guy was probably about 5 times the weight of me, and I tried to suplex him. Yes. And then I quickly realised I've got no chance, so just took a doing basically.
I was going to say, I was like, please tell me you did a DDT. That would have just been all those years of training would have made it worth it for you. Just DDT in the guy.
I should have went for that, but I tried to Kurt Angle him and just get him over.
I actually did angle slam my brother once. Like, he put me in a headlock, like, and it was too tight. And I've got a thing with my neck. It's like that, you know, that kind of whole red mist that you get with some things. So my neck is my trigger. And I couldn't remember doing it, but apparently my brother's pal was there, and he just said, "I just saw you just pick up your brother," and he just angle slammed his back right off the couch. And I'm like, "Well, you don't grab my neck." I told him, "Don't grab my neck." Man. So how did that transition into the magic? Was it like the kind of, you know, the pageantry of the wrestling and the illusion of the wrestling kind of transition into the illusion that what that is magic? Not that I'm saying that, you know, magicians are fake. We believe in magic. We're not muggles here.
Like, so basically, I kind of got fed up of wrestling because people were like, it's fake. And then I had a lot of action figures, and kind of when you're moving to secondary school, you think you're too cool for toys, and then eventually when you're 27, you're sitting in a bedroom with like hundreds of action figures around you.
I did notice. I was very impressed. Very impressed with the pops, my friend.
So basically at that point, I went to secondary school, and there was a guy in my brother's year who basically knew 1 or 2 tricks. And I also at the same time started watching things like David Blaine, and there was a thing called the Convention Crasher with Justin Lee Collins, where he went to different conventions. So he went to a clowning one, he went to a magic one, a couple of other ones where he tried to fake it and win competitions. I was really into the magic one. And it was at that point where I kind of looked at it and I went, that's men playing with toys. So maybe I can play with toys and get off with it. So that's kind of how magic kind of came back into my life, but it was never away. It was kind of just, I'd pick up every couple of weeks, play about, and then just put it away again. But that's kind of where it, what's the phrase, lit the fire or inspired me or whatever you want to call it.
So let that spark inside you to get back, to pick up the wand.
Pretty much.
Good. Right. So me being me and wanting to be so nosy about everything that involves what a subject, I will be asking questions about magic. If there is like a guild or an alliance, don't give the game away so I don't get kicked out. Just to make sure. Nudge, wink, wink.
I'll answer the questions like a politician would.
It could be another sidestep there. They're all a bunch of magicians anyway, because they disappear into freezers.
And they also lie for a living, a bit like me, so it's pretty much the same.
Right. So, first thing that I'll have to ask is, the wand. Have you got a Harry Potter style wand, or is it the traditional black with the white tips?
I don't use one.
Oh man.
So they're not required. That's basically the way to explain it. But I use other things. So like when I'm out working, I'll maybe use a pen. I'll say, take the pen, give it a magical wave to create the moment of mystery whilst I'm doing whatever trick I'm doing.
Yeah.
Or I'll maybe like give someone just something that's maybe a one shape, because then it's taken away from the stereotype, you know, like everybody saw Harry Potter or they saw a kid's entertainer with a wand that breaks or whatever. So I want to try and get away from that. So I give you a pen.
And in fairness, because this is an unedited, unfiltered podcast, I've just got a picture of you like just randomly just pulling out a dildo and just being like, right, so tap that 3 times.
We won't talk about that show.
Right. Do you prefer like being on a stage, or do you prefer close-up magic?
I like both of them for different reasons. So being on a stage, you know, people are there to watch you, and you have the kind of banter with everyone at the same time, and everybody feels involved. But with close-up magic, it's a bit more personal, because you're approaching them. So basically, my job at an event would be to interrupt you and your friends whilst you're chatting about football or whatever, or if it's a wedding, how you all know the bride, that kind of thing, and to basically interrupt you and do 10 minutes and be your pal for the 10 minutes. And I like that because you can play off people, you meet different people, and you're sharing something that only that group really will see. And then you go to the next group and something might be said or done that's totally different, and you're helping enhance that day, and you're also creating that memory, basically.
Well, that's quite cool, actually. What did you ever go to Airdrie and do magic?
I have, yes.
Have you ever been in the DiMaggio's in Airdrie?
No, but I know the magician that works in there.
Yeah, because we always used to go to DiMaggio's, and we'd always have a magician that would be around. And I mean, this is when I'm in like my late 20s, man. So I'm still like, but I'm like that kid again. I'm like just watching and studying and just loving like how. What I know, it's a lot of like, you know, like there's a lot of kind of not. I don't like using the word deception, but essentially that's kind of what it is. Like you're getting them to watch the shiny over there while you're getting every this blow them away with the trick in the other hand. And I've always loved it. I always loved studying it and just but also being blown away by how well you guys do it. And then Darryl O'Brien, who's a very famous Irish comedian, did a skit about magicians, and it ruined it for me. Because he was like, they practice for hours and hours, then they say it's magic. And concert pianists practice for hours, but they don't say, Jesus, where's the music coming from? Is that playing the piano? So is it true that comedians hate magicians? Because I don't get why they would hate you guys. I think you guys are awesome.
I think, I'm not sure. So I done a wee bit of kind of the comedy scene in Glasgow for a wee bit, and where I done what I called Majomedy, which is magic and comedy.
That's a really good name for it, actually. Yeah,
it was basically my Edinburgh Fringe show in 2016 was called Majomedy, where magic and comedy collide. So that's kind of how I introduced myself. I done my kind of stand-up magic. I've done quotations there, and basically, I think the problem with comedians not liking magicians is they feel we are taking the easy route, because anyone can really do a magic trick. You know, like you could do one, you could go by it.
You overestimate me, my friend. You overestimate me.
But within just say a couple of weeks, we maybe be competent at doing it, but it's everything else around it. You know, like when I'm performing, I don't really focus on the tricks. You know, I've got the fundamentals down. I can do what I can do, but a lot of it is the interaction. And I think that's why a lot of comedians kind of don't like magicians, because they feel we've bought an act, because a lot of people do just buy an act and just do it. So you've got to, you know, put your own spin on it. It's like everybody's a tribute act to all the past magicians. So you need to try and stand out. And that's kind of what I tried to do when I done a comedy scene.
Yeah, but at the same time, like with the magicians, like you're not all like trying to tribute Houdini where you die doing your own trick. Otherwise, there'd be no magicians. But here's the ultimate trick that Houdini did, and I'm dead. Well, you wouldn't. So I don't buy into that. Like every like magician's like a tribute act. Like you've got your own skills, you've got your own styles, and if it was the same stuff over and over again, it wouldn't keep going. And you wouldn't have like, as I see in the background, the impossible entertainment.
Yeah.
So enlighten me on that, like, and my followers. Tell us about Impossible Entertainment.
So it's basically my entertainment agency. So whilst doing magic, I was always kind of asked, do you know someone who does X, Y, Z? And it was always, you know, if I'm not available, I'll send another magician. Do you know someone that can do this? And it kind of became a bit of a running gag with a couple of friends of mine. you should start an agency. Because you're technically doing it anyway. So basically, we provide variety entertainment, everything from fire eaters, stilt walkers, jugglers, magicians, even comedians at various events. So we might need a podcast host someday.
Well, this will be my audition to see how it goes.
So yeah, the thing about Impossible Entertainment is it started the week before lockdown. Like that's when I officially announced it. So we're still kind of fresh. This is like our first proper year, and we've got some big plans.
Ooh, can I get any Ginger exclusives? Or is it like the Magician Alliance? You've got to keep it all under wraps, under cloak and dagger.
Well, the big goal is world domination, but we'll gradually get there.
That's it. Well, I'm hoping my kids will beat you. I want them to be world leaders by the time they're 6.
Oh, that's a good goal.
They've got 2 years. But well, everybody says like you should always like push your kids to greatness. So I'm just like, right, see that Putin guy? You could do better than that.
Go take him out.
It's like one of you could take him out. The other one just assumes it's the identity because it's twins that I've got. So we can just use them as a double act. So which also brings me to the next question. Have you ever used twins in your act? Like, for example, if you were doing for example, the sawing the woman in half. Get one twin at the top, one twin at the bottom, so that way even the legs are identical. You're like that. You're like, yep, that was definitely their legs. Let's see.
I've thought about obviously there's things that you could do and I've always wondered what it'd be like to be a twin because I would totally take a piss. Me and my twin would swap places. Like when we go to work and I'd stay at home and stuff like that. So it'd just be really, really fun.
Yeah, one of the things I can tell you definitely about twins is the psychic link. Real, 100% real. It's like I can barely understand them sometimes, but they can just have their own wee language, have their own wee code. And they're getting to the stage now where they're starting to kind of slowly imitate each other and try and throw them off. I noticed that when I picked them up at nursery, they were wearing each other's glasses. So the nursery was going, it's like, Kieran was doing this and this and this today, and then I looked at him like, that's no Kieran. It's like, yes, it is. He wears the David Walliams glasses. I'm like, that's Connor. He's got squinty eye. They've played you like Hawaiians on ukuleles. But it could be something
that you could have with that.
Yeah, but it's something that you could use in future, like having twins in the act. Especially if they're identical. I can hire out my kids. It's all good. I'll get them working. I'll get them working.
It's impossible.
Yep. I'll get them working, in fairness. 4-year-olds used to go up the chimneys back in the Victorian times. Well, I think having your 4-year-olds as magician assistants, I think that's a pretty good bet. I think that's pretty cool. And just so you know, I'm not taking the piss out of you being a magician. I'm really not. I have the utmost respect for every performer that does everything. Magicians especially, because yours is so heavily reliant on the payoff. It's kind of similar to comedy where comedy can you can sprinkle wee jokes in the middle if the punchline doesn't necessarily land. Or as I've learned when I've died on stage. But with magicians, everything's about the build up and it has to have a payoff. Otherwise they go, what the heck was that? So I've always had respect for that. It's all a build up. It's all preamble to this big kind of climax. And no, that was not a Freudian slip. So I have respect for you. So don't think I'm taking the piss in any way.
Don't worry. Please do take this.
It was just some points I'm like, you ever thought about adding twins? Is there really a magician's alliance? I didn't want you thinking I was just ripping it. This is just random stuff that will pop into my head.
It's the kind of question that you hear all the time anyway, so don't worry. Everybody wants to know the answers.
What is the most random question you've ever had? One that is taking it right out of left field and be like, oh, didn't think of that.
I don't know if I can really share this one. I was doing a trick with a bit of rope, and this guy. So I'm pulling the ends off the rope, putting them back on, all of that, cutting it, putting it back together. Yeah. And this guy just goes, "Excuse me, why can I not feel my arms? Have you made them disappear?" on, so just continued with my act. I should also point out that was an Edinburgh Fringe show at like 1 a.m, so you can imagine.
You took it like you are a magician because you took the question out of my brain. That's what I was going to ask. I was like, was there some inebriation involved in that one? Oh man, that's amazing. Like, what is like your largest like audience attendance that you've ever performed to?
501 people. I think it's roughly somewhere about that 500.
Like 500, man. That's impressive, man. Like, whereabouts was that? Was that at the Fringe or was that somewhere else? Was it? Did it have like magician festivals?
So yeah, they have the Edinburgh International Magic Festival every year where they bring different magic acts in.
Nice. When's that?
It used to be in July, but I think they've moved it to kind of Christmas time now. So it's kind of later in the year.
In a way, that does make sense. Like Christmas is a magical time, as they always say. It's like it's about like the big fat man, as I call him to the kids, because like, that way, if they ever say you lied to me about Santa, I can say no, I didn't. I called him the fat man, and I'm the big fat man.
Good thinking.
That's my own illusion right there. Well, by that point, there'll probably be more salt and pepper in the beard, so I'll be able to get away with that too.
Yeah, forward planning. I love it.
You've got to. It was one of the things that do you have kids or are you still lucky?
I'm basically single and just single.
Well, if you're like, I'm single, I'm like, good on yourself. Good on you. Enjoy it while you can. But those are the things that it's random things that you think about before you have kids. I mean, I specifically wanted one and I got two, so that was already messing with my brain. But then you start thinking of things like, do I do the Santa thing? Do I do the Easter bunny? Like, I don't want to lie to them. And then being like, I think I watched too much South Park when I was like a teenager as well, because they were like, you lied to us about this, you lied to us about that. So I didn't want to wind up like that type of dad. So I'm like, right, I need to build up contingency plans. So I
also don't want them left out. Like you don't want them going to school and ruining Christmas for everyone.
Yeah,
that's no real, my dad.
Yeah, I don't, because I had that ruined for me when I was at school, and I was like pure like shocked face and what get eaten in the toilets afterwards. I'm like, no, it's not true. So I had that, and you've always got to think of these things. You're like, so I'm kind of like a Vulcan, because Vulcans don't lie. And then anytime they say that they've lied, they go, "Oh, it was an exaggeration. No, it was a choice. No, it was." So I'm like, take the Vulcan away, my friends. Being a nerd will eventually pay off for you one day. So I did not know that there was like magician festivals. Are there any ones kind of down south, like England or that you've been
to? Not that I've been to, but there's a couple that kind of run in conjunction with. It's going to sound really sad. Magic gatherings. So
hey, we might have some D&D fans on here. Actually, we've had some D&D guests on the podcast. That works out well.
So I'm trying to think. There's one. I think it's called the South Tyneside Magic Festival, or South Tyneside Festival of Magic. But there's always kind of like, it's like the equivalent to a Fringe festival, or a comedy festival, but it's heavily focused on magic. And there's a couple kind of in the UK, and then there's some bigger ones in like all over the world. There's a massive one in Portugal.
Oh wow! How amazing would that be, getting to go over to Portugal for a magic festival? That's awesome.
Maybe one day. I'll get it, I'm sure.
I think that's something I've had an idea for Impossible Entertainment. Like, if you like it, you can take it. And I won't charge you.
Right.
You know how like they have Comic-Cons and stuff like that? You should have Magic Con, where people get to turn up, like dress as their favorite magician. They get to meet some of their magician idols, ask them questions in like a panel and stuff like that. I think that's actually the more I'm talking about it, I think that's a fucking brilliant idea, actually. Because I would love to go say there's a Magic Con and you get to meet David Blaine. How amazing would that be? Just to turn out and be like, wow, this guy could literally vanish right in front of me. That's so cool.
I'm going to burst your bubble. There is something similar We have magicians and magic conventions where basically you have lectures, so people come and teach their tricks, and there's dealers who come and sell their magic tricks and the products that they've produced, and then you have shows as well. So, for example, the biggest one in the world's in Blackpool, and it's in the Winter Gardens, and it's got like I think I had 6,000 people before COVID every year in February, and they bring people in. So they've had like Yuri Geller was on it. They were going to have Chris Angel, but because of COVID, that's changed. But they've had some really big names as well, which it's pretty cool.
Well, don't worry, you've not burst my bubble. You've restored my faith in humanity.
I'm glad.
And the biggest like conventions in Blackpool. That's when you find out Coat Bridge is the biggest St. Patrick's Day festival. That's amazing.
You have ruined my life by telling me that.
Actually, it's the second biggest in Coat Bridge. Like the first is actually Las Vegas.
Wow.
and I've been to both. And I'm not even a Catholic. Woohoo!
What one did you like better? Coat Bridge because it was down the road.
Coat Bridge because I could understand what they were saying. Well, because the Scottish, we know how to drink. Well, we know if we're planning on doing something for like a weekend, we make sure we know how to drink for that weekend. Americans, only a certain few know how to do that. A lot of them don't.
Yep.
Because we went to Vegas and it was for my mum's 50th. We left and it was St. Patrick's Day in Scotland. And by the time we got to Vegas, it was still St. Patrick's Day. So it was quite cool. So I was like, oh yeah, dancer. Let me still get a couple hours of St. Patrick's Day. We can go check into the hotel, like get a drink. Cheers, we're here, St. Patrick's Day. Well, the amount of women that were passed out on the streets as we were in this car. Well, and we're talking anorexia makes these girls look skinny. It was terrifying, and they're all just passed out. A sea of like green and vomit. It's unreal. Well, and I was just like, I'm like,
a good time.
Yeah, I was like, these girls really can't handle their drink, man. What? And then you're getting closer, and it was St. Patrick's Day over in America is around spring break time as well. So you're getting all the big jocks are like spring break, woo, like the proper Kevin Bridges sketch. What? And you're absolutely terrified because you're thinking that these guys are going to kill you because they're all like 6 foot odds and they're built like tanks. Me and my brother, like, even though we were older than them, well, we're relatively like small and skinny compared to them, and we were thinking we're gonna die. Well, because all we could hear was that on this escalator was a stampede of spring break Americans, and we're thinking we're just gonna get railroaded here. Well, but all of a sudden they stop. Well, they tap one of us on the shoulder and like, "Excuse me, sir, do you mind if we get past you, please?" And I was like, "Aye." Yeah, no bother. But so we scooted over. But thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Then, woo, spring break, woo, carry on. And I'm like, what the fuck? That was like the Twilight Zone. That was so weird.
That's one thing I've wanted to do is like New Year. So do New Year in like Australia and then fly and do it again somewhere in America.
Yes. Well, just do like a non-stop plane around the world to hit every New Year point.
Every time zone.
Yeah. I wonder how much that would cost, man, especially nowadays. That would be like your retirement, like kind of bucket list to do that around the plane and then basically get off and go, right, I'm just going straight into the coffin.
Just have a shot and then get back on the plane and fly.
Man, that would take Mile High Club to a whole new level, wouldn't it?
Wait, look into doing it.
That's something that it's definitely, that's a bucket list territory. If you don't do it, I'm going to steal it.
Right, I'll race you, see who can do it first.
Well, no, you'll win by a country mile. Literally by a country mile. Or a continental mile. I can barely get out of my seat in the dining room, let alone get on a plane. So what shows are coming up for you in Impossible Entertainment? Let plug the wares, sell baby, sell.
So most of our work is private stuff. You know, like if you're having a wedding or a corporate event, we'll come along and provide entertainment. But we do have a big show coming up at Webster's Theatre in Glasgow.
Yes. Yes, I've done Webster's Theatre. They only had 8 people, so I really hope you get a lot more than that.
Well, I got a sales report today and more than 8.
Yes.
So sorry.
No, that's fine.
But yeah,
I want to see you succeed.
I think Webster's is kind of ideal for a magic show, just kind of because it's an old kind of place, and it just feels very kind of Victorian magic-y to me. So
yeah, the setup's really good in there. It's really good.
I knew at some point I'd probably do something in Webster's when I first saw it, and then basically we are doing a show called The Delusions of Grandeur.
Nice title.
It was going to be my tag team name. So come back to wrestling.
Yes.
Me and this boy that I knew were going to start wrestling training to become a tag team, and we're going to be called The Delusions of Grandeur.
Yeah.
And it never came to anything. We never mentioned it again.
That is something that I think Vince McMahon would run with. That sounds like a Vince McMahon angle. Like
that's kind of why we never done it.
like you would be you'd be a brilliant like heel tag team. Well, they'd be getting on top of you. All of a sudden, like the lights would go. One of the guys that's not been tagged in yet would do something, and the lights would go out. And all of a sudden, like the lights come back on, and the guys are the baby faces are sparkle, and you're over. Rest like
one's in a straight jacket.
What the rest like? Wait, okay, right? How's this happened? Like one's got a bunny up his backside, one's in a straight jacket. 1, 2, 3. What? New tag team champions. You could have a streak for doing that. That is something. See if Vince doesn't pick up on that, get to AEW so you can get some more blood and gore with it. Like you could really mess with that.
I'm going to retire from magic now and just we can focus on the wrestling for the Delusions of Grandeur.
No, you've got to keep the magic going, man, because you still need to have those skills. This is gonna tie in. Like I can see this. This is the crossover event. You have your magicians Comic Con, like as we were talking about earlier in Blackpool. Like you combine that with tie in with a wrestling event. You jump from one venue to the other. Again, that's magic. You've made it from one venue to the other. What? And back in time for tea. There you go.
It sounds good.
See, well, I don't. And this is why I don't take drugs. I'm already stoned at my nut. Well, my brain's already like a stoner's paradise. Well, so if any of these ideas hit, just let me know. What you can have them.
I'll let you know. So obviously we had the idea for the tag team. Never became anything because I don't know. We just never committed to it. It was just one of the ideas that you just randomly have. Oh, we should become wrestlers. And then kind of, I've always thought about doing a variety show that's just magic. Because basically at these magic conventions I've spoke about, you always get a gala show. And it's always the headline acts where they all do 10, 15 minutes. But I thought, why not do one with your mates? You know, like everybody that's on the show that we're doing is a friend of mine, but they're not on the show because they're my friend. I'd happily sit and watch them. I'd happily buy a ticket to their show. Plus, Scotland's got some very underrated performers, not just magic, but comedy, burlesque, any kind of cabaret. You know, we've got some of the best performers in the world. And I feel as if we're under-recognised for that. So that was another reason to kind of do the magic show, find local acts. So everybody is from... You know, we've got guys from Edinburgh and Ayrshire and Glasgow. So we're all local. And it's also the first time that we've all been in the same room at the same time, which is pretty incredible because like we're all friendly with each other. We all know each other really, really well. But
it sounds like a bad joke, doesn't it? Like, how'd you get 3 magicians in a room?
We've all been... So there's 6 in the show. And we've all been kind of working together at various points. We've all been working on our own stuff. So, you know, these guys have like traveled the world. We've had people that's performed in Las Vegas, Australia, Finland, Spain, Hong Kong, Tokyo, you know. So we've got loads of these kind of great performers. We're coming together for one night because I don't think we'll ever do anything like this ever again. And that's not just a marketing ploy to try and plug a ticket. It's genuine. You know, like we all met roughly about the same time.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that if you ask me later, I might tell you.
You know what? You know I don't edit this, so it's best to ask me later when we're off here.
well, we'll see how the conversation goes. I might share it. But yeah, so we've got something for everyone as well. You know, we've got comedy, we've got magic, we've got classical, we've got danger. The guys in the show, you know, like we've all got our own moniker. So I'm the one trick wonder, which is based on my show. Everything's done to
that sounds
wonder.
like, let's see if Delusions of Grandeur have the eventual tag team split and you go solo. There's your name, right?
Faction.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's you got your that's you got it. You could build an Evolution style stable here, man.
So my one trick wonder being the DDT.
Yeah. Well, that was all you need, because the rest of it is all the magic. You do that DDT, that's your finishing move. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
That's all I need, just one move.
We've got it. Well, it fares to work for the Hulkster, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I'm the one trick wonder. We've got the Lone Wanderer, which is Hamish, which is a theatrical performance of a sad clown.
Wow.
Which it's hard to explain. You just need to see it. We've got Elliot Bibby, who is the Scottish magician and the magical MC. So he's the host. We've got Mandy Fletcher, who is a third generation magician. Wow. He's traveled the world, but has never done a public show in our hometown.
With this Evolution staple that's going through my head, we've now got your Randy Orton, the third generation superstar. There we are.
Exactly. The token female as well.
Oh. Yeah. I'm only joking. Like, put my name forward. I would love to get like a female magician to hear like the other perspective of it as well. Like all that type of stuff. This has just been such a fascinating and brilliant discussion. I'm loving everything about it.
I'm glad. And then we've got Aziz, who's the Birdman. He makes doves appear. He's mystical. You know, that's all we know about him.
Yeah. Can you get away with that now? Like with all the animal rights and animal cruelty and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you know, apparently you're not meant to feed pigeons rice at weddings because it'll kill them. But that kind of deal.
Aye, so as long as, like, with the manipulation of the doves and that, as long as you know what you're doing, they're treated well, you've got the relevant insurance, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. Yeah. And then lastly, we've got a mind magician, which is a mind reader. So he's going to read people's mind.
Oh, I'm going straight to hell.
You never want to meet this guy then. He'll tell you what you're thinking before you think of it.
He'll just walk up to me, punch me and go, that's for the things that you've not thought of yet. And off he'll go. You know, like when your granddad used to hit you in the back of the head going, that's for nothing. Imagine what you'd get if you'd done something. It'd be that kind of deal. This sounds like an absolute... this sounds like a brilliant event, man. So plug it. When are you planning on doing it? What? You've already sold the idea. I'm more than sold to it. Like, are you doing it like across the country? Like, let's sell this. Sell this, please.
So it's a one-off show. As I said, we'll never be in the same room at the same time. Like, if we are, it'll be a very rare occurrence and probably not doing a show together. It'll probably be more kind of casual. But it's at Webster's Theatre on the 1st of October, which is in Glasgow's West End. And tickets are available from glasgowmagicshow.co.uk. And if you want, you can follow us on the coolest named Instagram in the world, which is Glasgow_dog_show. People think it's an Instagram about dogs, but it's not. It's magic.
I mean, in fairness, I'm pretty sure that that popped up on my Instagram, and I was like, could this get my wife tickets to Crufts?
What's funny is there is a Glasgow dog show, so we might end up getting a cease and desist from them. So we'll see what happens.
or it could be yet again another crossover event.
Well, there might be a dog at the show. You'll need to buy a ticket to find out.
Exactly. There's your plug, my friend. Like, I knew there was a reason that I wanted you on here. Like you're an absolute, you're a magician and a salesman rolled into one. You're awesome.
That's gone in my bio on Tinder. Magician and salesman.
Yep. What, just like reviews, you're fucking awesome. Andrew Durnan, That Mental Ginger Show. By that point, my name might have clout.
Right, I'll keep that in mind.
Right. Well, man, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. Like, well, and I hope you haven't thought I've been like a prick asking all these different questions or having like, oh, this is a great idea. Well, it's just see if I get a guest that really engages me. What with their topics or subject matter, what I'll feel more relaxed and I'll be able to let this kind of the silly guard down in my brain because I don't have a filter at all, as you may have guessed.
I'm the same, don't worry.
So the fact that I've asked all these questions and be like, oh, you could do this or you could do that, that just shows A, how good a salesman you are, and B, how much your stuff is what is really well respected by me. So keep it going, man. You genuinely are a sound guy, and I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So we are starting to come up on time. So I will ask you the one question that I would ask all my guests. I really wish the mind reader was here, so I would love to hear his thoughts on this. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be and why?
Okay, so I knew you were going to ask this just from watching previous podcasts, and
yes, I guess that actually watches the episodes to get the answer.
It's called market research.
I call it Facebook stalking, but there we go.
Always I've been asked similar things before, and one of the things I always refer to as a song. It's a song called by a band called AFI.
Yes.
Called, I Hope You Suffer.
Oh yes, you're speaking my language, man.
So I don't know the story behind the lyrics because there is a commentary version of the album, but I refuse to listen to it because it's going to ruin what my understanding of it is because it'll be totally different, I bet you. But my thinking of that is, so basically the lyrics to me mean I've went through hell, you've put me through it, but I've came out to the other side. I'm on the other side of that suffering, and you've put me through that. So I don't really agree with this bit, but I hope you're suffering. So I think it's the other side. So, there's always, it's like the grass is always green on the other side, as Travis said. But it's kind of like it'll be shit, but in a year, 2 year, 5 year, it might not matter. So just keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. Well, and loving the AFI reference. That just took me back to early 2004 when I first got the Leaving Song Part 2 on. I was like, yeah, it's just bobbing away. My Limp Bizkit hoodie.
That's I don't know. That's like the one song where I like to dissect songs and make up my own meanings, and and especially kind of things like AFI songs and kind of going a wee bit more kind of to Linkin Park and things like Blink-182, like going through all that kind of genre.
You're just running through my MP3 player, man. You're running through it. I'm loving this more and more.
So I like to dissect them and come up with my own meanings.
That's the performer in you. Well, we all love to do that. What's your favorite Linkin Park song? Got to ask.
It changes. So controversial. I'm going to say One More Light is a really good song.
It is.
It's really good. A lot of people disagree. The Hybrid series, the greatest album ever made.
It's a brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant.
Also, I really like, like some of the classics like Numb and In the End. But I quite like what's it called? Burning It Down. I had to sing it there. Did you see that?
Yeah. Is that one that Burn It to the Ground? Burn it to the ground. That one?
Exactly. That one.
I love that one. Well, my favorite one, it's one that's not played as much, is My December.
Oh,
love it. Just love the pure piano instrumental of it. What you get to hear, the combination of what their styles in between. It's just so stripped down. It's that way unless you really knew it was Linkin Park doing it. You wouldn't know. It's just so gentle and so beautiful. I love it.
One of my other ones is The Messenger. or Battle Symphony. Like they're two,
Yes.
they're two really lyrical and like
Yeah.
really well done acoustically. So I really like them because again, if you listen to the lyrics, going back to kind of the previous question there, they can help you through times if you think about what's been said in kind of the songs and dissect them like that.
Yeah. And when you think of what One More Light, especially after what happened to Chester, there were so many warning signs in that one song, and everybody's just like, how did we miss it? And I think that's why a lot of people don't like it because they instantly feel guilty with it. But it's such a beautiful song, and if you just strip it down to the fact that he was missing his mate, basically,
and I think that's why kind of knowing what happened, if you go through their kind of catalogue of songs, you can always kind of see kind of the signs and stuff. And
as
bad as it sounds, I like that because it's like putting expression of yourself, like being from a creative industry, like putting yourself into it. And as I said, I do one trick wonder. I love one hit wonder songs. Everything's done to one hit wonder. So it's kind of similar, putting parts of my life experiences into my album, so to speak.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, and it's the entire back catalogue of Linkin Park, I think it just all builds up to a crescendo in that final album. Kind of like one of my favorite songs, Waiting for the End. And it starts up, you get the rap bit at the start, you've got a wee kind of slower bit in the middle, and then it builds and builds and builds, like for what the rap and Chester's like high note holding on to what I haven't got at the end. I'm just like, beautiful.
I'll give you a recommendation. You might have listened to it, but Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park done an album called Post Traumatic.
Yeah.
Now, my recommendation is lie in your bed, put headphones in, and listen to it from start to finish. It's like watching a movie. Like if you actually sit and listen to the lyrics, it's like watching a film, takes you on all the kind of stages of grief. But when he's done interviews and stuff, there's like parts where he's pushing people away and you can feel that in the songs. And then there's bits where one guy comes in to help him with the song. And then other people, when he starts at the end of the album, basically everybody's there and helping him. And it's really cool. It takes you through that journey, like proper experience. So lie in your bed, listen to it.
Yeah,
nothing else going on around you.
We're going to need to have a longer discussion about music, man, because this is just brilliant. This is brilliant stuff we've got right here. Absolutely fantastic. So we're now going to come to Ayer's favourite segment, which is Ask Andrew Anything. And for my faithful followers, after me grilling the guest for approximately 48 minutes, this is where we get to turn the tables around and they get to ask me a question. It could go very well, could go very badly. That's all part of the fun. So, Stephen, do you have a question for this mental ginger?
So, I've been thinking, can I give you a kind of serious one, but more kind of market researchy for myself?
Okay.
Based on your experience in being in entertainment and acting and comedy and stuff, where do you feel magic fits in, and what can magicians learn from other parts of performing?
I think, well, we've already covered that I've got quite a high respect for comedians, and a high respect for magicians, high respect for actors. I think with magicians, I have more respect for them than other people in our kind of entertainment niche, because they have to incorporate so many different facets of other people's kind of styles into their set, as well as embracing their own, because they're putting on an act. So you've got to be an actor. You've got to engage with the audience as well. So you're also technically a public speaker. You also have to have a bit of banter about you. So you have to be a comedian. Depending on what style of magician, even magic or pageantry you go for, sometimes you have to have like a more musical theatre background. You've got to have a bit of movement about you, a bit of the singing patter as well. Because a lot of it is very lyrical. With how you do your tricks. So I think if anybody is like considering being a magician, hit the other staples first. What hit the other parts of like the industry. Hit your see how you are with acting. See how you are with comedy. What you are with generally being like a salesman, and creating a persona of yourself. And whatever parts are your strengths, play to them when you're doing your act. Whatever is your weaknesses, just step them back just a little bit. So I do. It's like I'm not just blowing smoke up your backside. I've got a real respect for magicians, because you've got to incorporate all this, and you've still got to create a unique, engaging performance. As I said, you've always got the built a crescendo at the end where someone's going to go, "Wow, how the hell did he do that?" Or "How the hell did she do that? How the hell did that?" And these nowadays, that toaster do that. It could be anything these days. That seriously, like the amount, where it stands for me, is a very high up in the list. Because you're multifaceted and you're multi-talented, as well as bringing like a unique skill set to the table. So, I hope that's kind of answered your both the questions in a roundabout way.
It's what I expected you to say, but yeah, it's a good answer, really good answer.
Yeah, thank you. If you need it, you can use it in any marketing research.
It's the soundbite episode.
Yeah. No, but I'm serious, man. Anytime I do see magicians and stuff, you always envy the things that you can't do. Like, I can't dance to save myself. The guy with two left feet looks at me and goes, "Fuck, what is he doing?" I'm that bad a dancer. So I would always love to go and see dance shows. And no one would expect that from me, because they're like, "You hate dancing because you can't dance." I'm like, "No, I can't dance, but I respect those that can, and I want to see it because it blows me away how people can do those type of moves with their body." Same with magicians. I love watching magicians because I love to see them do something that I know I would not be able to do successfully. I could maybe do I couldn't even do it. You know, everybody says, "Oh, you could do a coin trick." I've got shit coordination. I'd take out my eyes. I'd blind myself. I'd be like, "Wait, 88, off we go." So I love seeing stuff like that, and I love and instead of something that's all round in the industry, instead of being jealous of people who can do something that you can't, show them respect for it.
And it should motivate you as well to be better at what you're doing.
Yeah, it should motivate you to get better at your own niche and your own craft. Like I say, I don't say that I'm a comedian. I just keep getting asked back to stuff. I'm like the Godfather 3 of comedy.
I'm the same way, magic. I don't claim to be a magician. Yeah. People are like, "You're quite good at that magic shit." So
yeah, it's like I'm like, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. But I love watching the other comedians and seeing how they go, and I think that's brilliant with the writing with magicians. That's brilliant how you can perform it. And you try and take that into like your own kind of traits, and so if I couldn't do that, but could I have the same stage presence as that guy? Could I build my confidence on stage the way that guy does? Could I have the same patter and the same banter that they could do? So you're always learning, you're always observant, and it's fundamental. Have respect for those that can do something that you are not skilled at. Yeah. It's like you don't walk up and go, "Fucking bastard surgeon saved my life. I couldn't do that."
I know.
You don't go, I could do that. Fix that fuse, and then you blow yourself to bits. No, respect the people that do the jobs you can't.
Exactly.
It applies everywhere.
It's weird how people are like that with creative things.
Jealousy is an ugly thing, and it's there really should be less of it. Because everybody thinks, "Oh, you're out for yourself, or you're out for this or that," and that's why I do the podcast. I'm like, everybody's got a skill set, and I want to promote it. And I want people to know that I do back my fellow artists, rather than just being like, "I've got this guy on. He's a magician. He's a prick."
You'd be right.
But he's my prick. You say it nicely. You go, "But he's my prick. I like him. He's got the same prickish style as me, How could I be a better? How could I be a better prick? Well, I hope that's answered your question, but hopefully gave you a wee bit more into my own thought process than you probably were comfortable hearing.
No, it was a good answer. It's always nice to hear kind of what people think. You know, like I submerge myself with magic, you know, and it's nice to have a kind of outside perspective and have someone who's in a similar creative side also have their input. So no, it was a good answer.
Yeah, well, it's the same kind of deal. What if you find something that you're passionate about and you're good at? Well, fuck what everybody else thinks. Like, you're good at it. Well, you're getting the work. Keep going. It's like the same deal with me. Like, am I bothered if I get any acting work or any comedy work or whatever? No, because I'm rocking the shit out of this and I'm doing well at it. It's the only thing I've actually had confidence to say, I'm kicking ass. Let's keep going. Well, Stephen, man, you've been an absolute delight to talk to. Like, you're funny. You're one talented motherfucker. Seriously, have you got a podcast?
I don't have a podcast. It's something that I've considered doing, but it's more time.
Do it. You've got the skill. You've got that. And I don't just say that anybody because they think, oh, he's just going to say that because he wants to watch me bomb and fail. I would only say to people, do your podcast if I think you would have a specific thing that you could market for. You're in a particular niche that would get a lot of traction. Like, people love to hear about magicians. They love to hear about what takes on what old tricks of the past, like the very first magician acts. You could look at them and be like, right, how would we do that in 21st century? How would that style go? What did you think of his process? You're warm, you're approachable, you're a nice guy. Seriously, magician podcast. If you get a chance to even just do a pilot, I will tune in.
Right, I've got one listener. That might motivate me to do it.
And you have one more listener than I did when I started out.
Oh, amazing.
There you go. But nah, seriously, like, take the advice on board. I wouldn't say it to you on air if I didn't think that you could do it.
Nah, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Well, until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durnan. This has been, do you prefer magician or illusionist? That was something I meant to ask you earlier.
We'll say magician.
Well, this is the magician, the magnificent magician that is Steven Blair. Well, seriously, I will definitely be trying to get a babysitter to go to that gig. This one-off, one-of-a-kind gig. Provided my parents will actually take my kids for the first time in 4 fucking years. I'm only kidding. My mom and dad watch this. I love you both, really. Take my kids. But until next time, take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Is this when we awkwardly wave like the ending of a TV show in the 90s?
Yep.
The type was wrong.
I was going to cut it off there, but now I'm just going to add this bit in, and let's just do let's both of us do the awkward wave to a camera. And that's how we'll end it. Bye-bye.
Perfect.